Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I wanted to talk a little bit about Dracula orchids here. I came out to the greenhouse this morning with the intention to do a video, and it was just so, I don't know if you can hear the rain. It is a horrible, dank, gray, super rainy day out there, and I thought, you know what? What a perfect day to do a video on Dracula orchids. Maybe we'll do a couple videos. I have one that needs to be repotted, but I want to do sort of a care and culture video, so why don't we talk about that first. So anyways, before I get started on this, I just wanted to kind of bring you guys up to date. I didn't do a video last week. I was a little bit busy. I was down at the Victoria Orchid show at the Society's annual show. It was great. I had a booth there. I had a display. I loaded up my car with all kinds of stuff, all kinds of orchids and companion plants for orchids and all kinds of cool stuff like that, and loaded up my car with the intent to do a 4-foot by 8-foot display there. And when I got there, I realized that I had brought like double that amount of stuff, so we actually ended up doing an 8x8 display. Excuse me, I ended up doing an 8x8 display down at the Victoria Orchid show. I met a lot of subscribers, a lot of fans, a lot of people that appreciate my videos. So I just wanted to give sort of a shout out to those guys. It was awesome to meet everybody. You guys all had so many kind words for me and stuff like that. I'm glad there's some local people that like my videos as well. Other than that, I wanted to bring my Patreons up to date. These videos are brought to you by my Patreons, so if you like these videos and you want to become a Patreon yourself, you can head over to my Patreon channel there, and it just shows a little bit more support than nothing. How's that? But anyways, I want to give an update for you guys. So on my Patreon page, for my current Patreons, we are doing a Nepenthe seed giveaway. The pods are still here. I haven't forgot about you. They are still ripening, and once these guys are ripe, I'm going to be giving them some of them away to my Patreons. You guys know who you are because we've already been in contact, so you can expect an updated email once these guys, I'm just waiting for them to, I don't know, it's probably going to be another week or two. I know I said that a couple weeks ago, but they're still growing, they're still inflating, so we can't cut them off early, obviously, but as soon as these guys are ready to go, I'm going to mail you guys all out some seeds. So anybody that is a current Patreon subscriber, make sure, if you haven't already, you get me your email or your address so I can send out the seeds, and that's great. If you want, if you guys, subscribers, want to be part of future giveaways like Nepenthe seeds and other stuff like that, head on over to that page because those giveaways are only for my Patreons. So without further ado, let's sort of get started on this video here. As I said, it's just such a fitting day. Hopefully you can hear me with the rain. It's cold in here. I had to turn up the heat. There's no sun today. Yesterday was beautiful in here. It was like 85 Fahrenheit. It's like over 30 Celsius. It was wonderful. And so why don't we talk about temperature first, since we're talking about temperature. These guys, although they're cool growing, and I'm going to show you this guy up close first so you know what we're looking at here. I love Dracula orchids. Look at how big that is compared to my hand. That's got to be like a 1-foot bloom or more. So this guy here is Dracula Chiroptera. I hope I'm saying that right. Anyways, it means bat. So a lot of Draculas are sort of bat-like and named after bats, but that one literally means bat. It's an order of bat, and it looks kind of bat-like. It also is sort of a monkey face orchid. You can see a little face in there. Hopefully it's focusing for us. But these guys, this one especially, it is a cool grower. The bigger the flower, it seems like the colder they grow, the higher up in the mountains. So this one comes from an elevation of 1,600 to 2,000 meters, so it's really high up there. And it gets really cold down at night, and it's always cloudy and misty and foggy. So we try to, it's perfect highland conditions for the Nepenthes, and that's why the Draculas grow so well as well, because I try to mimic those conditions in the greenhouse. And all my Draculas do very well because of it. I can see several with blooms and buds. But anyways, let's talk more about their care. So we've established they are cool growers for the most part. They like high humidity and I want to say fairly heavy shade, but at the same time, it's not that heavy of shade. I have light meters, so I know exactly what light is falling. This guy, he hangs up high right now for the winter. he's up quite high. He's getting as much light as he can. On a sunny day like yesterday where it was 85 Fahrenheit in here, he was still hanging up in the bright sun. I wouldn't want to do that come May, June, July, August, September into October. They would cook. All the Draculas go down quite low, and they do become more shaded in the summertime. Light is great for these guys, but light with heat is not so good with them. So it's one thing to be like a nice cozy 85 in here, but when the sunlight's penetrating in, and it'll cook them very easily. So on a day like today, we have 2,500 to 5,000 lux coming in here, which isn't very much at all. As I say, it's very dark. It sounds like a lot, but it's not. If you're working at foot candles, that's like 250 to 500 foot candles of light. So that's on the lower light end of the scale. It seems light to us, but it's really not that bright to plants. I also grow them when they're not hanging. I grow them on trays there, and I have a shop light over them. The shop light just has cool white bulbs in. Under the lights, they get a consistent 5,000 lux, 500 foot candles of light sort of thing, and they grow just fine. The lights are on all winter long, and I find I shade this area in the summer, so sometimes the lights are even on for a little bit in the summertime, in the early mornings and stuff like that. But they don't take tons and tons of light anyways. What else can I tell you? Their blooms usually come out the bottom, so I hang them once they start to bloom. This one's got another spike right here, coming out sort of sideways. These ones are just like pointing sideways. It's kind of weird. You might ask what this white tape is around the pot. Well, I like to do things my own way here in the greenhouse and come up with nice little interesting ways to help myself out. So this is just plain old box tape. You get it like Staples or Walmart or whatever for packing. And I've wrapped it around here. It does two things. A, it controls the moisture, so I don't have to water nearly as much because some of the holes are covered. B, it's still a net pot, so the spikes can get out. And you know what? If a spike came out the side, it would probably push right down through the tape anyways. So I don't want to put them in a regular pot because the spikes would not come out the bottom. So this means I can water less, and it is also sort of a humidity sensor. The tape is white right now, and I probably brought this up in other videos. The tape is white right now because it is moist. So if this was to dry out, the tape is going to go clear. The drier it is, the clearer it is. So I can visually see if this pot is moist or not without actually even going near it. I can see it from across the greenhouse whether it needs to be watered. I made the mistake, and you'll probably notice it on the plant we're going to work on maybe in the next video. I bought some thicker box tape, and you know the stuff doesn't go opaque like this. It stays clear no matter what, so it was a complete waste. So we'll be removing that, and since then I've bought some thinner box tape again. I went for the high-end stuff instead of the cheap stuff, and it's just the cheap thin box tape that works for gauging humidity in my pot. So what else can I tell you? We talked about how they bloom. They're sequential bloomers too, so you don't want to cut the spike. This will last probably 2 weeks as long as the humidity remains high, and then it will bloom again off the same spike, which is what makes these guys really hard to repot because they're always in spike. Even when they're not blooming, they're in spike, and the spikes are coming out the pot, so we don't want to break off all the spikes. Let's see. Humidity is always high. The bigger the flower, the higher it is. I've got a couple hydrofoggers in here to keep it that way. In the summertime, if there was a lack of humidity, these things would like literally wilt. I took one nice big plant to the Victoria Orchid show that I talked about at the beginning of the video, and it literally, the car ride down made the thing wilt. And then off and on all weekend, it was like wilted and then not wilted, wilted and not wilted. I had to keep spraying it with water. Luckily, the haul was fairly cool, and they didn't just, I thought it was going to like not even be brought in from the car because it was in such rough shape. So they really do like the greenhouse conditions. They're tougher to grow if you don't have a greenhouse. You would want like a cool aquarium, something to keep the humidity up for these guys. As for potting media, I have gone full circle with them. I used to pot them in basically moss, and then I went to a moss orchid bark mix, and then I went to like 50-50 orchid bark, but I found they didn't do as well, and they were much higher maintenance because the bark was always allowing the moss to dry out. So these days, I pot them back in moss again. I put a tiny bit of dolomite lime, it's a powder, like sand, on top of the moss as well. Keeps it from going too acidic, and it buys me a little bit more time with the moss. These guys do have sensitive roots, and although they like little bits of fertilizer, they don't want their media to be too acidic, and sphagnum moss will go acidic after a few years, so the dolomite just kind of balances that out a little bit. But yeah, they have good root growth. I mean, you can see on the bottom here, this one's got roots coming out. Oh, it's got 2 spikes. And yeah, roots coming out and roots coming out the top. So doing very well for me. But anyways, that's sort of the care and culture on them. Why don't we do another video on this guy here now? It looks like I'm going to have to repot, divide, and do some trimming on this guy. You can see lots of spikes. The spikes are not in bloom right now, so I'm hoping I won't break too many of these. Bella, as opposed to this guy here, isn't his sequential blooming. Usually I don't get more than 1 spike off here, so I can do a little bit of trimming too. I can see new ones coming, but it's just time. The tag to this was 11-14, so I'm at like 3 years. We're in 2017. I'm at 2.5 years anyways. It's just time to get that thing out of that pot. So today is the day I'm going to do that. So if you like this video and you want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe to my channel. If you want free seed giveaways, make sure you check out my Patreon page for like Nepenthe seeds and stuff like that. I'm not going to give you orchid seeds because you can't germinate them without laboratory conditions. But other seeds and stuff like that and other cool giveaways are over on that site. What else? If you want to see photos of my display at the Victoria Orchid Show, you can check out my Facebook page for that. There's photos there. I put them up last Sunday or Monday. What are we on now? We're already on Saturday, so I put them up last week anyways. So you may have to scroll down a little bit to see them. But yeah, check it out. It's kind of cool. I was happy with the way it turned out. And there's a few ribbons on the table and stuff like that as well. So that was kind of cool. And now look for the next video. I guess it may not be out yet, but it will be out within the next day or so if you're watching this like soon as it comes out. If you're watching this a few months after it's come out, then look for the next video. And we are going to repot a Dracula orchid that probably has horrible roots because it's been in there for so long. And yeah, we'll see what it looks like. Anyways, thanks for watching.